discussing a more in-depth, quiet, on-set. The Quiet On-Set documentary that I mentioned in my last video. I have now watched it multiple times. So now we can go over what I got right and wrong last time. Because now I have a full in-depth understanding of what happened according to the documentary. I hope you like this setting. It should be a lot more crisp and clicky. Okay. Okay, let's get started. That was my cat. Okay, so in episode 1, we learned that there were many employees that were mistreated on the Nickelodeon set, specifically Nickelodeon on Sunset, which is where a lot of the famous Nickelodeon TV shows that my generation knows and loves, such as iCarly, Victorious. Sam and Cat was not my generation, but the next generation, and Drake and Josh, and the Amanda Show. So, something interesting I learned watching the documentary is that the Amanda Show was originally not filmed on Nickelodeon on Sunset. It was filmed in a different Nickelodeon studio. I think it was Paramount Studio, if I'm remembering correctly. I did not take notes. I usually have a pretty good memory when it comes to documentaries, so we should be okay. Please feel free to let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. But, yeah, so the beginning of the Amanda Show was filmed on the Paramount set. And apparently that was a really good environment for the actors and the staff. But it moved to Nickelodeon on Sunset, and things took a negative turn. That is where one of the main victims of these issues met Brian Beck. Brian Beck was a big part of this documentary, and he was probably, not to diminish the other actors or anything, but I'm pretty sure that he was like the biggest instigator, the one that got in a lot of trouble and brought a lot of awareness to this issue for Nickelodeon. I think he was the first one to be sued. But going back to the other staff, the ones who did like costume and makeup, and a lot of the writers, the first episode was focused very specifically on Dan Schneider and the cast of I have a hard time remembering the name of the show because it was not part of my generation. It was before my generation, so I never even saw it. I think it was the All That cast. Don't quote me on that. I'm having a hard time remembering. But Dan was really known to be quite rude and disrespectful to the female writers. He said that females were less funny, and this part makes me really mad because this is one of my biggest pet peeves, is he forced the two female writers to share a salary. Really annoying and really illegal. So, because these women work in Hollywood, and Hollywood is incredibly hard to get into, they shared the salary. They agreed because they wanted the experience. Because Dan Schneider was quite well known for writing really successful shows. He made them massage him almost daily. He always usually had a female staff massage him, never the men, usually. And he would make inappropriate jokes. He once made one of them say her idea for an episode in a way of sounding like she was being sodomized, which is really, really gross and really embarrassing, and she did not want to get too in detail on it during the documentary, so I will not talk anymore about that, out of respect for her. One of the other women on the writing cast, not cast, the staff of writers, she was in the middle of giving her idea for an episode, and after that, he didn't even acknowledge her episode. He looked at another staff member, a male staff member, of course, and said, "Didn't she used to do phone sex?" What does that have to do with writing? I don't know. But good for her, she quit, and she sued Dan Schneider and the Nickelodeon television network for inappropriate behavior. And she won. But, it did nothing to Dan Schneider. He still continued to work. Sorry if you heard that. My neighbors are stupid. Keep a lookout for that. I will be doing a story about my neighbors soon on here. Big updates. I know a lot of you were curious about it. Where was I? So, also, he ended up firing one of the female writers. I honestly don't remember why currently. It's been a few days since I watched that episode. I'll leave it in the comments so I can remember it later. Then he fired her, and then replaced her with a male writer. And then he did the same thing to the second female writer, and the second season she got brought back on, but was then told she would have to work for free because he had hired another male writer and given that writer an even higher salary. We love misogyny. Hate it. felt very alone and kind of outcast. Sorry, I'm trying to recall as I talk. So they had this thing called the laughter chamber, I think, and it was basically where they would make the cast do really uncomfortable stuff, like have peanut butter licked off of them by dogs, or have to get in a container with worms. It was just really awful. It kind of felt like a torturous environment, and especially inappropriate for actors, because that's not what they signed up for. Specifically, one of the black actors had to have peanut butter spread all over his body and then licked off by dogs. They said it felt really uncomfortable. That actor's mom was also the only parent that even slightly stood up for their kids, according to the documentary. She would kind of throw a fit. She'd be like, you know, that doesn't seem right. That seems kind of racist. This seems inappropriate. That kind of thing. Though I don't give her that much credit, because I truly believe, like, if you're in this situation, get your kids out. Like, I don't think it's enough to just say something like, why are you leaving the set? Like, Nickelodeon was very notorious for making parents leave the set, which is not legal. They were supposed to have a guardian with them at all times. But these parents did not protect their children, and I don't care what the documentary says. This mom did not protect her son. I mean, she did more than the other parents, but that doesn't really matter because her son was still affected. But because she did complain, her son was not brought back the next season. And they, which to me this is also incredibly unprofessional, blamed the mom and said that the mom caused too many issues, which ruined their relationship for years. Like 20-something years, he blamed his mom for losing the role. And actually, it wasn't until the documentary that they even became close again or talked again. There was also a other actor. I feel bad. I don't remember their names because they weren't from shows that I watched. Sorry, I should have looked up their names. There was one kid on there who said that there was a scene where he just had to, like, they had like sugar poured down their throats, which I think is actually incredibly dangerous, and they had to redo the scene multiple times. He's like, we're just like, he's like, you would choke, and like Dan would get mad. It just seemed which I think is on our world's weird obsession with being young. They only wanted really young-looking actors. They did not want teenagers, so a lot of these teenagers got pushed out. But anyway, Amanda got her own show, and a lot of people noticed how close she was to Dean Schneider. A lot of people said that it was really inappropriately close, and that it shouldn't be happening. The weird thing is that I didn't know this. Amanda Bynes' parents were heavily involved in her career, especially her father. He was always there, and I think it's really weird that he did not prevent Dean Schneider and Amanda Bynes' relationship. It seems very strange. This is where the episode gives me goosebumps, because they mention that there was an actor on a Nickelodeon show that was raped by a producer on the show. This is where Brian Peck comes in, and they make it really suspenseful on who this actor was who got raped. So they have all the actors, and they're like, who was it? Like, we all wondered who it was. And then they mentioned it to the adults, and they're like, not again on one of our shows, right? And then they just have Drake Bell walk in silently and sit in a chair. And that's how the episode 2 ends. And now we're at episode 3. I am going to go ahead and put out a trigger warning. Episode 3 is where things start to become very graphic. So, if this is too much for you, I suggest you leave now. It is okay. I will see you in my next video if this is too much. For those of you who are still with me, they have Drake sit in a chair, and they kind of give Drake's background, like all these movies he was in, which I didn't realize he was in anything before the Amanda Show. Drake Bell got on the Amanda Show when he was 13, I think, 13, and that is where he did the Amanda Show on Paramount Studios, which he said was an amazing experience, and they had his dad really involved in the documentary, and his dad said it was also an amazing experience. They loved Paramount Studio and they loved the Amanda Show, but after the first season this so much. He was labeled homophobic because Brian Peck was gay. So he said that, so a lot of people who he questioned Brian Peck to said, oh, well, he's gay, so I guess you just don't like gay people, instead of considering that Brian Peck was a pedophile. Yeah, so let's just label people homophobic for no fucking reason. Sorry, I get a little heated about pedophilia. So, he didn't really say much after that. He just kept a really close eye on them. And then there was one day that Brian Peck followed Drake into his dressing room and was helping him change. Drake was 14 at this time. He did not need a grown man helping him change. So, after that, Drake's dad basically banned Drake from seeing Brian. He did not want him to see him anymore, and he was very adamant that they were not alone together anymore. So, like all of their lessons and stuff, he was there, or they wouldn't have lessons. He never let Brian be alone with Drake, which I think is very admirable. And Brian, being the manipulative asshole he is, told Drake that his dad was ruining his career, and that the studios were mad at his dad for ruining his career. So Drake, being young and impressionable and having a close relationship with Brian, told his mom that he did not want to see his dad anymore, and he did not want his dad to be his manager. I forgot to mention his dad was his manager at this time. This will be the point where I say I was correct in my original assumption. I do not like Drake Bell's mom. I think she is awful. I think she just wanted Drake's money. I do not think she is what a mother should be. Drake does defend her and does say that he doesn't want people to make fun of his mom. So please, don't send Drake Bell hate about his mom, I guess. Not that I think any of you would, or I don't know, I guess I just wanted to put it out there. So, Drake Bell's dad, being the good person he is, says fine. If Drake doesn't want to be around me, that's fine. But tells Drake's mom never, ever leave Brian alone with Drake. He told her. What does this bitch do? She leaves Brian alone with Drake. I hate pedophilia, so this part does make me a little emotional. So, Drake Bell, because of his mom, she let Brian be Drake's manager. So Drake would stay at Brian's house a lot. Drake Bell woke up one night to Brian raping him. He says that he didn't know what to do during this because he froze. He didn't want it to happen, but he didn't know what to do. It's disgusting. It makes me so mad. I just feel so sorry for him. He was 15 at this time. 15, and was raped by one of the most trusted people in his life. Sorry, guys. she said, Drake, what is going on? And Drake just kind of said, oh, that's just Brian. Like, we're supposed to hang out tonight. He's just mad. She said, no. An adult does not act like this with a teenager. And Drake told her, like, yeah, he's kind of weird. I'm trying to distance myself. And his mom, or not his mom, should have been his mom, but it wasn't. His girlfriend's mom says, Drake, what is going on? And Drake tells her. At this point, Drake's girlfriend's mom calls Drake's mom and tells her. Drake's mom calls the cops. And this is where life gets even more difficult for Drake. Is that too rough? So, Drake then has to tell his story to multiple investigators. Has to sit there and tell strangers about his sexual abuse, about the molestation, about so many things that they don't even go into too much detail in the documentary because it is so dark. Dark. I really think the best way to do this would have been to let Drake sit like in a room alone and record it so that he wouldn't have to repeat the story over and over and they would just have a copy of it. But no, Drake had to tell this story to multiple investigators. I know they were doing their job, but I think there was a better way to handle it. So, Drake ends up going to court. He ends up suing Brian and Beck for sexual abuse. Drake is labeled John Doe because he is a minor. Drake said that when he went to court, Brian Beck's entire side of the courtroom was full of celebrities, well-known people in Hollywood, supporting a pedophile. It makes me livid. I believe there's a special place in hell for those people. On Drake's side was just Drake, his mom, and his brother. When Drake got on the when Drake sat down to testify, he did not direct his testimony at Brian. He said that there was no point, that he didn't want to talk to him. He directed it at the people supporting Brian, which good for him. And he said, don't quote me because I might get it wrong. He said that, actually, let me see if I can find it really quick because it's a really good quote and I don't want to mess it up. It's such a beautiful quote. I think it's such a beautiful way to say it. Give me 1 second. I wonder if there's like a quote of it. Okay, so unfortunately I cannot find the quote, but I can probably summarize it. He said, I will forever remember me being on this side, and you all being on this side, supporting a man who did horrendous things to me, and that you all were against me. That is what I will remember. End quote. End quote. That might not be the perfect way. Whatever Drake said was perfect. I might have just screwed it up, I'm sorry. But it was beautiful, and I love that he stood up for himself. It was beautiful. Oh, I also forgot there is another guy that we are getting ready to get into. Oh my gosh, I can't remember his name. No. Jason. It was Jason. There we go. There we go. There we go. It was Jason. There was a producer on set named Jason. He was one of the kids' favorites. He was so good with the kids. And in an earlier episode, it might have been episode 1, he was caught by a mom sexting her 11-year-old daughter, like sending pictures of him masturbating and then saying, "I wish you were here, I'm thinking of you," to an 11-year-old. He was 28. Just absolutely fucking disgusting. So, anyway, this dude comes back up because guess what? Her mom was stupid too. Her mom was stupid too. Stupid. Her mom, when she found out that he was sexting her 11-year-old daughter, did not call the cops. Did not call the cops. Hopefully that wasn't too loud for you guys. So her mom did not call the cops. So this dude just got to keep working for Nickelodeon and being the pedophile he was. Till his heart's content. So sorry guys, I'm trying to think of like 7 hours of footage. So Jason is later also accused because he was caught doing sexual things with an underage actor. I don't remember which one he was caught with, but Jason ends up going to jail. Also, this is crazy. Brian Beck only served like 3 years. That's insane. And guess what? Disney hired him after he got out of jail to be an actor on Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. All of our favorite show. He played Lemire. Brian Beck played Lemire on Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Alright, I am back. So, sorry guys, it takes some time to get back up in my brain. Yeah, so he ended up on Sweet Life of Zack and Cody as Lemire. So in a way, it's really not cool on Disney's part. I cannot believe out of all of the actors in the world, you hired a pedophile. So, sorry guys. So, a lot of these Nickelodeon actors are starting to get arrested. very hard for him at this time because, I mean, Ryan didn't even get that long in prison. Now, and get this, when he got the job for Disney on Zack and Cody, when I asked him about the situation with Drake, he said it's all been handled. Whatever that means, Drake did not get an apology. Also, let's talk about some of those letters. I was correct in my original video. Fuck James Marsden. That man wrote a letter defending Brian Peck. And in his letter, as long as I'm thinking of a correct celebrity, he said, I have known Brian Peck since I was a teenager in Hollywood, and I could never see him doing anything like this. James Marsden was really the only actor I recognized. There were a lot of actors, a lot of directors that supported Brian Peck during this time. The one thing the documentary said is they can't guarantee that these people were not given false information or were not told everything about what that case was about. But I also feel like even my closest friends, if my closest friends were accused of something like that, I wouldn't just write a letter willy-nilly without getting all of the information. I know that there were some actors from Boy Meets World. I never watched the show, so I can't tell you their names. But there were letters that said things like, he had to be tempted, hey Philo, that he had to be tempted by Drake, that things had to be really hard for him to be willing to do that, that they couldn't see him doing that because he was a good person. You know what I gathered from all of those letters is that these actors are not good people. They're just not. This is never okay, and it's never okay to blame a child. But anyway, I didn't want to forget that. It's incredibly disgusting. So, next episode, they go back to Dan Schneider. Also, I wanted to mention this because I want to be as unbiased as possible, even though I don't like pedophiles, so it's very clear what my loyalties lie. Drake Bell does not blame Dan Schneider for the issues with Brian Peck. He actually says in the documentary that Dan Schneider was the only one that was there for him and seemed to care during that time. Just wanted to put that out there. So, episode 4 focuses on the actors that we know more, like Jenna McCarthy, Marta Cosgrove, that kind of thing, and Jerry Trainer. Also, props to Jerry Trainer. He really did try to protect the younger cast members from Dan Schneider. Dan Schneider was really weird with them. I want to clarify, there's never been proof of Dan Schneider being actually doing anything like sexual to these teenagers. It's just kind of like he did really weird stuff that could insinuate that he was doing other things. Like, if you all have seen the videos of Ariana Grande on the slap.com, I think, is what Victoria's website was. There's a lot of videos of her doing very sexual things, like pouring water down her body or squeezing a potato in a very sexual way, that kind of stuff, and it was all directed by Dan Schneider. He also was very touchy and got in the personal space of a lot of his female actresses, usually not the actors as much as the actresses. the actor that I mentioned, him and his mother were estranged after all that. They are rebuilding their relationship, even though I still think she's a bad person who did not take accountability for her actions. And Drake Bell and his dad are back on good terms. They're closer than ever, according to Drake during the documentary, which I think is very good, and I think that Drake's dad deserves to be a part of his life. Not his mom, I still think she's a bad person, but